Are we going to see the markets bounce today? We need to talk about it. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and my wife asked me last night, who sings the song Last Christmas? I thought about it for a while, and then it hit me. Just in case you missed it, the answer to that is wham! All right, so still not the best jokes. Gonna keep on moving. So we watched the indices yesterday. Lots of stocks go right along with them, just completely dump at 2 p.m. yesterday, and we're seeing a bounce in the pre-market hours. And I want to share some of those levels with you and give some updates on stocks and crypto out there. I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet. I'll tell you briefly about my Patreon, about my options course, and about the free stocks from Moomoo. In the meantime, I do want to get right into the charts. So we're gonna kick things off with QQQ. So let me put this up here for you. So this is yesterday that you can see that sell happen. And I checked the timestamps yesterday when I took the intraday call with 0 DTE options. 2:03 p.m. is when I got into the options. And if we zoom in on here a little bit, we can start to see where that comes in. So 2:03 is right there. So pretty well timed. I stepped out 2 to 3 minutes later and took about 30% profit on that one. It's actually 28 and some percent profit on that. And so that was really nice for just a few moments of my time. I'll take that all day long, every day. But I did have to run. I couldn't stay at my computer to watch things play out. But check this out. That drop right there, looking at those timestamps. Now listen, while it hurts to look at the past, I'm not going to continue lamenting on it. I'm going to look to the future to see what other opportunities lie out there. So I had these lines drawn on here for a while now, except for there's a new one in here that you may have missed, and that's this line that's right here. And this line, when we broke that, that's when everything sort of fell apart for us. So if I zoom out a little bit more, you can see a little bit more what happened. Let's actually go to the 5-minute chart so we can see a little bit better. There we go. So we were actually dancing on top this line for a while, and it wasn't until we broke through that line today. You can see we caught the bottom of this wedge yesterday, retested, broke through that, and then just everything fell apart. And this volatility is to be expected towards the end of the year. There could possibly be a bounce. I talked about the pre-market hours with what we're seeing right now, and there's actually something pretty interesting if we put a Fibonacci retracement on here. There we go. And we take a look to see from bottom to top what happens. We're actually right around that 38.2 level for the Fibonacci. So have we retraced there on by accident? I don't think so. So where do we look to on a purposeful technical level on this? So 406.60 and then 407.47 in QQQ, tracking the NASDAQ 100 as we're looking at it. So should we retrace up above these two levels here, we could actually have a further rally, and that could actually take us back up to about possibly what are we looking at here? About the 408 to up even 410 level today. We could possibly see that happen. Now, it is also possible that we fail to break the 50 Fibonacci or the 61.8, and then we retrace back down, and then we have the Fibonacci supports that are on here, and also these historic supports at about 405.45. And at about 403, what do I have that at? 403.44, which is the previous all-time high, which you can see acted as decent support for us. So we'll see if this rally holds right now. It's not strong enough to convince me that we're going to keep on moving up in that direction. But after such a strong sell, it is possible that you get overdone and then you recover from that a little bit. So I think volatility is going to be the name of the game today. We could most definitely see a bounce happen and we stay above those all-time highs, or we could come back down and revisit it and we continue to settle a little bit more. And when we look on a daily basis, that drop is nothing compared to the sort of run that we've been on. I said that we've been looking for a while now for some natural settling, and so we're going to continue to watch and see if that happens. The SPY, when you go to this one and put a Fibonacci retracement on it, you're going to see something magical also happen on this one. Let me go down to the bottom of this. There we go. And look at the way in the pre-market hours that we kind of hesitated a little bit around the 23.6, but then coming up to the 31.8, we are dancing all around that. So we'll see which side of that we pop off of. The levels for this one are 471 and then 472.48. So we're going to be watching those two levels. Breaking up above those could be bullish for us. If we fail to break those, then it is possible that we start to retrace back down, and then we have trend line support right at about just under 470, 468-ish, and then down below there about 467. So we're going to have to see what sort of market we get today. We have a lot of stocks recovering very well after something that was probably, in my best guess right now, at least in the short term, overdone, but we still could over the next several days see a little bit more correcting. And we could also still see, as I mentioned before, and I keep on mentioning, I am cautiously bullish on this stuff. So as we watch this, over to end phase. Where's end phase at? End phase is dancing around 130. If we pop up above that, we have it as support. That could be excellent. I'm still looking for 145 to come out of that as the next price target for end phase. If we retrace back down, we got 120, and then we have down to about 112 below that. So we want to watch for that and play the technicals as they start to shape up. When we look at Tesla, big sell yesterday, and the pre-market hours were back up to 250, and 250 as resistance for us. We're going to have to watch that to see if we get rejected or if it's something that we push back up through and we start to go back up towards that target of 260, which I believe, let me see how close we got. We got to 259.84 yesterday before we got the big sell-off on that one. So target, I'm going to consider target 1 reached, and I still think that target 2 is in the cards for us. We're going to have to watch and see what we get from that. I do have a short-term put option on Tesla to see if we broke down a little bit further from this, and that could be one that ends up unprofitable for me if we get a strong bounce in the Qs. I also have a short-term position for TQQQ that I also think could play out really well. So they're sort of in opposite directions of one another. To NVIDIA, that cup and handle. And yeah, I know I have that Fibonacci on here. Let me take that off because it's just a little bit distracting to what we have. That cup and handle could be playing out beautifully for us. We're going to have to watch that to see if NVIDIA starts to give us more of a pattern on this handle side of things. We don't know it's a cup and handle yet, but it's something that I am watching for because it could be a very bullish thing for us for NVIDIA. And then moving on to, let's go to Google. And when we look at Google, bouncing off of 140 as support is actually a really good sign. Staying up above that 140 is going to be good for us. We closed just below it yesterday, but this is one that I still think has a target of 150 somewhere in the near future, that it most definitely is possible to get to that price target of 150. And that is sort of important because that takes us near the all-time highs that we had before. So we'll see if Google ends up reaching that. I think that it could, leading up to what we get in Q1, possibly for earnings as we hear from big tech. Just a quick roundup on crypto here. Bitcoin showing a bit of strength coming into today and yesterday. Nice little green day for us. Today we're up over 44,000. I think we have that run to 48,000, possibly even 50,000 in the cards leading up to January the 5th. Ethereum's looking great right now. Momentum on Bitcoin and Ethereum both looking great. That they're both in bullish territory, but they are not in the overbought territory. And then for Ethereum, we got 2,300 in the way, and then we stopped room up to that 2,500 mark between now and January the 5th. And then AVAX is one that has an incredible run on this one, and this is the only one out of the three that I'm covering right now that is in that overbought territory on a daily basis. And if we go out to a weekly basis on this, you can still see that we're in that overbought territory, and I do think that it is possible when we look at AVAX that we actually start to retrace a little bit before that next rally upward. So we're going to have to watch for that, maybe possibly in those technicals as we get them, that we get a little bit of a bullish channel coming off of that. What we don't want to see is a return to this line and then up a little bit and back down, because that can make that head and shoulders. Instead, if we keep on putting in, if we kind of find, we'll say support around 44.50-ish and then bounce off of that, head back up, that could set up that bullish channel scenario for us, so that it's something that I'm watching for AVAX. So I told you guys that I would tell you about where to find my buys and sells, how to see how I'm playing this market. You can do that by following me over at the Patreon. That link is down in the description. Sign up for the Patreon, join the Discord. My buys and sells are in that Discord. Join me and my community members over there. My options course is there for the complete beginner, and it's going to go up through advanced trading strategies. And then also Moomoo, it's where I trade most of my options. You can find the link for that down in the description. Qualifying deposit gets you up to 15 free stocks, and you get 5.1% APY on your unused cash. Now, last thing, GDP, we get it today at 8:30, so by the time you watch this, GDP numbers will be out. I do expect not much of a change from what we had from the second revision as the second estimate into the final one. So we'll be watching for that. Bigger, I think, tomorrow is the PCE numbers that we get with personal income and outlays, and that we want to watch what wages have been happening and what we have for consumer savings. I think that's going to be a very telling report, and I think it's going to be a big catalyst for the market. All right, so let me wrap this thing up today. We could possibly bounce. We want to watch those retracement levels. Go back in this video and check those out to see those numbers, write them down, and then watch and see what happens according to the technicals. I think it'll be a highly technical day according to what we see for the indices. I'm still cautiously bullish on the markets. We'll happen to see where we go today. If we do fall down, we want to see how far we fall on this one. We have a decent way that we could go before we start to bounce and have a glorious rally through the end of December and into January. So I do want to watch for that. I don't know how far we'll retrace, but that is something that we want to watch and see where exactly that does take place. If yesterday was a bottom for us, a near-term bottom, or if there's a deeper one coming up. Regardless, we're going to keep on playing the markets in either direction, up and down, and we'll play the technicals as they come out. And then crypto, keep an eye on that, because I think that we have one final run in that before we get into that Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF, I should say, deciding dates between January 5th and January the 10th. Thanks, guys, for watching. I really do appreciate it. Join us over at the Patreon. Use that link down in the description. Get your free stocks from Moomoo using that link down in the description. And as always, I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.